please. Let's hand it over to you guys. Someone must have a question. Yep, one down in the front.
Hi, I'd like to know if you have any way to measure if a viral is has success or not, and what's the percentage, the amount of virals that goes okay or not so good enough. If you tell the client this, or the client tell you this.
I think that's a very good question, because there is an element of risk in making virals, and actually when clients come to us, most of the time we tell them, we sort of dispel myths. We say, you've probably heard that all you have to do is make your ad, stick it online, and millions of people are going to see it for free. And most of the time we're telling them it doesn't work like that. There's a kind of quid pro quo. There's a balancing act. In terms of percentage of virals that work, I've got to say probably only about 5–10% of viral campaigns that are made across the world actually have a viral success. Probably even less than that, in fact. Probably in the below 5% of viral campaigns. On the other hand, I think that's because most companies don't really take it very seriously. They don't concentrate on it. They don't specialize in it. We tell our clients, I think we can back this up, that we have a sort of 65% success rate in terms of true viral spread. On the other hand, the last 2 years, we've not made a piece of work that hasn't been seen by 2 million, because the other part of your question was about tracking and about kind of metrics. Viral is still very young. We've been around for 10 years, and we're still about as old as you get in the business. Looking at myself in the webcam, I can attest to that. 10 years isn't very long for any kind of medium to be in existence. We're all the time we're learning, figuring out metrics, how to track, how to prove to our clients you get ROI. And it's not enormously sophisticated, but the beautiful thing about the internet is it's a much more of a direct measure. Sorry. For instance, we can track pretty accurately number of views on any clip. We can track now where the view was. We can also track how long the person has watched the video for, where they stopped, where the interest went down. Obviously, this is through YouTube Insight, things like that. So it's pretty good. We do qualitative surveys afterwards to show that each view has a value for our client. So it's risky if you do it badly. You have to invest a significant amount of resource and time. But you can, nowadays, it's actually easier to have a solid result than it was 10 years ago. Excuse me. Okay. I hope that answered your question. That was water, by the way, not vodka.
It's nearly 6 o'clock in London, Eddie. You can have a drink in a minute. Any more questions? Any more questions? Come on, we must have another question somewhere. Yeah, we got one in the front row.
I would like to know if the virus is supposed to be a cheap product, because I think no longer is cheap anymore. What I heard that this last campaign, the sheep campaign, was very expensive, right? I don't know.
Did you get that, Ed?
You said it's no longer cheap because it's very expensive. Is that right?
It's no longer cheap, and the rumour in Brazil, the fact that you had to personally train 150 sheep, made it a very expensive campaign. Is viral still expensive?
It's not as cheap as you imagine. I think that's fair to say. Everyone thinks that you can do viral because part of our trick, and you've seen from the work that Alex has shown, is that we try to make stuff that looks fairly homemade. It kind of has the internet sort of tonality about it. On the other hand, it's all made. I hope you all know that those sheep actually didn't make those shapes, right? Did anyone believe that? No? It was fake. It was all done in post-production suite, but a very decent post-production suite who did all the Harry Potter films. I'm afraid to say that it was cheated, which means that there's a certain cost in making the spot. There's also a cost in in seeding it. The previous question there was about how do you sort of guarantee to a client that they'll get some return on investment, because we take about half our budget and put it into what we call seeding, which is helping the clip spread for its first generation out on the internet, getting the most important on the people on the internet to find out about the clip and giving it to them in an appropriate way. If they like it, they'll send it to everybody else. And by doing that, we can pretty much guarantee a million or 2 million views, but it does cost money. On the other hand, that's a global campaign. It cost, the entire campaign, I can tell you, cost in the region of $300,000, 350,000 American dollars, which I think is not super cheap, but for a global campaign, including media and production, actually it stacks up pretty well. Does that sound expensive? I can see you. Nod if that sounds expensive.
No nodding. And what was the...
No nodding.
What was the success on Sheep? How did it do?
Well, I mean, it's in terms of, because we obviously measure numbers of people who see the clip. Without anyone seeing it, then you don't have any effect at all. So it's about 15 million people having seen it. It multiplied the amount of traffic to that website by 10. It was covered on most newspapers and TV stations around the world. I think it did a job for our client. Our client seems very happy, and they've come back for more. So as far as I can tell, it delivered value for money. In terms of the amount of bang for your buck, on a global campaign, $300,000, I think it makes sense, doesn't it?
I think so. Any other questions from anybody? No. Oh, yeah, sorry, one at the back.
I think that the secret of a viral is to be natural, spontaneous. The viral that I used to see is something created by the users of the computer, as younger people at the most. How the secret to a company to create a viral for a commercial approach?
I think I heard the question. I think you're absolutely right that most virals are made by the audience, are made by consumers, or discovered by consumers, aren't branded at all. And I think that's the world in which we're playing. We're playing in a universe in which the audience is generating its own content for itself. When we start to make stuff, we have to do so very sympathetically. I don't think it means that we have to stop or we can't make virals because we are brands and we have money, because we have money. I mean, there are some things that we can do that the audience just can't. I also think that the TV advertising model has been the same for 60 years. It's basically meant that the people who are entertaining the audience are making, the half-hour sitcom, the bit of entertainment that everyone kind of tunes in to see, and in between, in the magazine format, in between the breaks, in the gaps, you get to speak to the audience in any way you like. Before that happened, the advertising worked in a different way, which was that the advertisers paid for the content. They made soap operas. That's what the word soap opera means. They were paid for by the soap company, which meant the advertisers directly, Procter & Gamble, would make your entertainment. And I think that's more or less what's happening now. It's the first step in that direction. If people are stopping watching you and not paying attention during the breaks because they don't accept breaks anymore, they don't accept advertising breaks, then us as advertisers, we have to become entertainment makers. We've got the money, we've got the resource, and we've got some people, I know there are lots in the audience, who have decent ideas and decent skills. If we can make the entertainment for our client and the audience, we make it good enough so the audience kind of likes it and don't make the branding get in the way of their enjoyment, then we can be back where we were 60 years ago, which is where us, the creative marketing community, have got the purse strings and are making the content directly for our clients.
Okay. I think we might wrap it up unless there's one more question in the audience. Okay, Ed, thank you very much for joining us and standing in at the last minute.
Thank you. I'm sorry it wasn't the full, beautiful presentation that Matt was going to... But nice to see you all.
Maybe you'll come next year. So we'll say goodbye.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Bye, Ed.